It's January the 7th, 2026, and the racing world just witnessed one of the biggest shakeups in NASCAR history. Steve Phelps, the first ever commissioner of NASCAR, is out. After 20 years with the organization, his reign came to an abrupt end yesterday, and the timing couldn't be more telling. Let's break down what happened, why it matters, and what this means for the future of stock car racing. Ryan Blaney has won his way into the championship. Great day for Kyle Larson. Seventh career win in his 100 takes the checkered flag. Applause. On January the 6th, NASCAR dropped a bombshell. Steve Phelps, who had only held the commissioner title for 10 months, announced he's stepping away from the sport. By the end of January, he'll be gone completely. NASCAR wrapped it up nicely, calling it a personal decision and praising his 2 decades of service. But anyone who's been paying attention knows there's way more to this story. Jim France, NASCAR's chairman and CEO, released a statement saying Phelps will be remembered as one of NASCAR's most impactful leaders. Lisa France Kennedy echoed similar sentiments. On the surface, it looks like a graceful exit, but scratch beneath that corporate polish and you'll find a very different picture. To understand why Phelps is really leaving, we need to rewind to December. That's when NASCAR faced off against 2 major racing teams in federal court. 2-3 She Racing Co., owned by basketball legend Michael Jordan, and Front Row Motorsports sued NASCAR over its charter system. They argued that NASCAR operated like a monopoly, controlling everything from revenue sharing to how teams could operate. This wasn't just some minor disagreement. This was teams taking NASCAR to court and forcing the sanctioning body to expose its inner workings. During the discovery process, thousands of internal communications came to light. Emails, text messages, strategy discussions, everything that normally stays behind closed doors was suddenly public record. And that's where Steve Phelps's problems really began. In August 2023, during tense negotiations over the charter system, Phelps sent text messages to Brian Herbst, NASCAR's chief media and revenue officer. In those texts, Phelps called legendary team owner Richard Childress a stupid redneck who owes his entire fortune to NASCAR. But he didn't stop there. Phelps added that Childress should be taken out back and flogged. The president of NASCAR talking about one of the sport's most respected figures in those terms. Richard Childress isn't just any team owner. He's a NASCAR Hall of Famer. He gave Dale Earnhardt his ride. His teams have won multiple championships. He's been part of NASCAR since the 1960s. He has NASCAR history. When those texts became public during the trial, the reaction was immediate and severe. Racing icon Mark Martin said he didn't know how NASCAR could recover from this. Fans were outraged, team owners were disgusted, and sponsors started paying very close attention. Then came the knockout punch. Johnny Morris, the founder and CEO of Bass Pro Shops, wrote a scathing public letter. Bass Pro Shops has been a major sponsor of Richard Childress Racing for years. Morris didn't mince words. He defended Childress and made it clear he wanted Phelps removed from his position. When one of your sport's biggest sponsors publicly calls for your commissioner's head, that's a problem money can't ignore. NASCAR was already dealing with the lawsuit, already trying to repair relationships with teams, and now they had a sponsor revolt on their hands. During the trial, Phelps was called to testify. Under oath, he had to address those text messages. He admitted he sent them. He claimed they were made in frustration and said he'd apologize to Childress. He tried to characterize them as out of character, a moment of weakness during difficult negotiations. But the damage was done. You can't unring that bell. The racing community saw who Phelps really was when he thought nobody was watching. And more importantly, they saw how NASCAR's leadership really viewed the team owners who make the sport possible. NASCAR eventually settled the lawsuit. The financial terms remained confidential, but 2-3 She Racing and Front Row Motorsports got their charters back for the 2026 season. Both sides issued a joint statement about moving forward with a unified focus on advancing stock car racing. But unity was the last thing anyone felt. The trial had exposed deep divisions between NASCAR's leadership and the teams. It showed a culture of contempt at the top levels. It revealed that while NASCAR publicly praised tradition and family values, privately they were calling Hall of Fame owners names and plotting how to strong-arm them into submission. To be fair, Steve Phelps wasn't all controversy. During his tenure, he did accomplish significant things. The next-gen car, launched in 2022, was developed under his watch. These were real accomplishments that moved NASCAR forward. But here's the thing about legacy. It doesn't matter how many good things you do if you fundamentally disrespect the people who built the sport. One text message calling Richard Childress a redneck who deserves to be flogged overshadows everything else. NASCAR announced there are no immediate plans to replace Phelps as commissioner. That role might just disappear. Instead, his responsibilities will be divided among existing executives. Steve Phelps remains president and will take on more duties. Brent DeWar, the chief operating officer, will also absorb some of Phelps's work. This actually makes sense. The commissioner role was only created in March 2025. Before that, the president handled everything. NASCAR can easily go back to that structure. And frankly, after this debacle, maybe having one less executive position isn't a bad thing. The 2026 Daytona 500 is just weeks away. Teams are preparing, sponsors have commitments, fans have tickets. NASCAR needs stability right now, not another leadership shakeup. So they're keeping things simple and moving forward with the team they have. This story is about more than one executive's resignation. It's about a sport at a crossroads. For years, fans and insiders have complained that NASCAR lost touch with its roots. That corporate executives who never turned a wrench or built an engine were making decisions that hurt the sport. The antitrust lawsuit exposed these tensions in brutal detail. Teams felt exploited. They wanted permanent charters and fair revenue sharing. They wanted to be partners, not just participants. But NASCAR's leadership saw them as assets to be managed and controlled.